broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey there, Sword Art Online fans. Welcome to another edition of the AfterBuzz Recap Show. Today we are covering Sword Art Online 2, Episode 21, The Monument of Swordsmen. How are you tonight, Tauri Miller?
Swell, how are you?
I am doing fine. I'm noticing that there are a few less people here than usual.
It's lonely on this side. And your side, I assume.
Yeah, but you know what? We are going to do our darndest to recap this episode anyway. Nice try. Yeah. It's okay. I'm your host, Megan Salinas. Joining me, as I said before, Tauri Miller.
Boku wa kachi da yo.
It's not complete until we start with a weird random Japanese phrase.
We win! Peace sign.
There was a lot of that. We did win this episode. Yay! There was a lot of winning, a lot of friendship, a lot of togetherness.
Yeah.
Aww. None of that here tonight, apparently.
Some of us didn't make it out of the battle.
Aww. Yeah, that's holiday traveling for you.
Yeah.
But you know what? Next week, hopefully the band will all be back together again. In the meantime, what did you think of this one?
It was a super fun episode. Great battle scenes. It's everything I could have wanted. Kirito knew when to take a step back. Asuna's being great. A few little references here and there. So it was great.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. This is it's finally become the series that I always kind of wanted it to be.
Yeah. There
are still a few things that, I can nitpick about, but for the most part, it's just a fun online video game adventure story, and I'm enjoying it. I'm thoroughly having a good time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of weird. After all this time, it's this is always what I thought the show would be. Mm-hmm. I don't know. What do you like this direction, or do you kind of prefer what we got in Sword Art Online 1?
I feel like I have to separate them in my own mind. It's you take characters that I enjoy and you just start this whole complete different story. Just because for me, this felt like when I was watching it, it made me think I could just watch this as if these characters weren't people we knew outside in the real world, just these fairies having a good time trying to beat these larger monsters. It could be its own thing aside from the character's own personal relationships outside of it.
And then that's the twist at the end. It was all a video game the entire time.
What?
But no, I'm with you. I really liked this one. So let's go ahead and start the recap, because we open up exactly where we left off with Kirito running in and saying this is a dead end, which I loved that, and just him and Klein coming to the rescue. Or more like Kirito featuring Klein coming to the rescue. That was pretty great.
Yeah, Klein's heroic entrance. I'm here too. Don't forget about me.
Guys, make way. I'm here too. Yeah. And then we also had Kirito pulling out Excalibur, which I never really thought of him using Excalibur in this type of setting. I thought when he got Excalibur, we'd have a big old boss fight or some big overarching thing that we have to overcome. I didn't ever picture Kirito using it to fight off a bunch of jerks.
Well, but that's part of the whole thing is if you're trying to intimidate a bunch of people, you pull out your big guns and you're like, are you sure about this? And let the cowards run.
There you go. Although not very many people were running. Although I did like that once Asuna and the Sleeping Knights made their way through the 20 people that they had to get through, that Asuna looks back and all of that area in front of Kirito is just on fire. It's what did I miss? I loved the fight with the Sleeping Knights and those guards, but I kind of want to know, why is everything on fire now?
It's the burning power of friendship.
Sure. We'll go with that. Except Klein was nowhere to be seen, so I can only assume he's on fire now, too.
Right.
Oh, poor Klein.
He does his best. Aww.
Aw. He does. He tries. He tries so hard. But so once we get through all of those enemies, all of those jerks from that guild, they make it into the door, and the door shuts behind them, and they're like, yay! Except not really yay. I was actually surprised the Sleeping Knights felt really guilty about accepting help from other people.
Right.
Because, they bring in Asuna because they needed one more for their team. And then not only are they being a big old burden on her, but they're also bringing in her group of friends that they don't really know either.
Yeah.
So I can definitely empathize with that.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is that they wanted to do it by themselves and get as far as they could on their own strength. But they never could have made it this far without the rest of the gang jumping in.
Yeah. And, but I guess that really does kind of dilute the victory a little bit because, they do just, again, this was all, their mission and their goal and everything like that.
Right.
So, but, luckily, Asuna doesn't see it that way. She just kind of sees it as, and I love that she brought back that quote from Yuki, sometimes the only way you can communicate is when you clash.
Yeah.
And I liked that, and they were okay moving on. Although before we move on, I really liked they met like one of the guys during the skirmish called Asuna the Berserker Healer.
Oh yeah.
And I adored that. I was like, I like the lightning flash a little better, but you know what? I'll take that.
I mean, it shows that she has a wide breadth of skills. And just before that, I forgot to mention when there's a move in Final Fantasy VII, which I think this was a reference to, when she basically Sonic blades through everybody, and it was amazing. I don't want to skip over.
Was that a reference?
I assume so, because it was the exact same. I won't say animation because it was a game, but yeah, basic movements.
Yeah, you said there were a couple references in there. Is that the only Final Fantasy reference, or are there a couple more?
That's the only one there.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, because, Sword Art Online does do a lot of little small nods to MMOs and to video games in general and things like that. So it's always nice to pick up on them when you see them.
Yeah.
Mostly musical cues. I feel like the biggest kind of world-setting, homage to just video games in general is the score.
Yeah. Which Sword Art has in spades. I could just listen to it and feel it, like I could feel like I could be a swordsman just listening to the score because it's so epic.
Yeah, you kind of feel like you could go on an adventure. Although we had one fan tweet us that apparently the soundtrack's not available yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm bummed. I want
it. Well, I think if you go to Japan and buy a Blu-ray, you can get it. Which is
a long way to go for a CD. I don't know. Well, maybe one of these days it'll be available on iTunes. So
right.
I'll keep my fingers crossed. But anyway, so they go in, and they're going to take another crack at the boss. And this time, they have a much better idea of its strengths and weaknesses and a much better idea of what to use in their strategy that worked and what didn't work. The only difference is now they're on the clock because they have a whole group of people waiting to get in the room, presumably the ones that are still alive after Kirito and Klein gets done with them.
Right.
And so as soon as the door opens up, those people are going to come flooding in. So basically, they only get one more shot at this boss.
Yeah.
And I think you said it best. This was just spectacular to look at. It was just gorgeous. It was super fluid. All the colors were absolutely awesome and everything like that. What did you like best? Favorite part in this fight?
Favorite part, I would say, yes. It was when Asuna jumped in and was like, we're going to use that guy's back as a catapult.
A little springboard.
Yeah. And then you get the amazing 11-hit combo that was referenced earlier, and that little breadcrumb became a thing to beat the boss. So that was my highlight, I'd say.
Yeah, Yuki slices the thing in half.
Yeah.
That was really, really cool. Yeah, I loved that. I adored that. But I got to say my favorite is just anytime Asuna decides to leave the job of healing to someone else and just go into the fight. That's always my favorite because that's where I want to see her. I want to see her on the front lines. I don't want to see her taking a back seat. I know healers are important in video games and everything like that, especially in RPGs, but come on, just get her in the fray.
Yeah.
That's always what I'm like. So it's nice to see her in the forefront more often in this arc, but also not necessarily presuming to be in the front. Like, she'll always be like, okay, you know, I'll let you guys do it, and then when she needs to step in, she'll step in.
Yeah. I mean, and that she's a super humble character, which is what's really appealing about her. And we were introduced to her as a frontline player, so just seeing her take a back seat, you're like, but we know what you're capable of. Like, there's so much you could be doing. But I love that she didn't have to make the final strike. She's like, this is your adventure. Do the thing. Well,
yeah, and, you know, she's a guest star in this other group's, in their story.
Yeah.
So, you know, she did. I feel like if this was Kirito in her place, he would have been the one to slice the boss in half.
Definitely.
And that's not as, you know, it's like, oh, yeah, good for Kirito, but that's not so great for the Sleeping Knights who brought him in to just be an extra body. You know, it's like, oh, yay, Kirito beat the boss. Woo! You know, it would have taken a lot of the fun out of it.
Yeah.
So Asuna, I think she understands that a little bit better. Or maybe just our storytellers are understanding that, yeah, no, this is how it works. This is the proper way to go about it if you get invited into somebody else's party.
Yeah. Proper video game etiquette.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good word for it, etiquette. But so they win, and I gotta say, I loved when the doors open up and they're victorious, and you have the other, you know, the guild waiting to get in, and the guy can't even talk. He's just like, I
wanted to be like, oh.
He's just like, damn it. But I just love the subtitles because it was like, it was pretty hilarious.
Yeah. I was surprised that he and his group were still there because, I mean, I guess they were waiting for it to open up again. But at the same time, they had all just suffered so much loss. And they said that, like, if someone was killed there, it would take, like, at least an hour to get back.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I'd be like, man, I got to eat some dinner. Let's go home,
Got things
guys.
to do.
Yeah.
Well, I was just surprised that there was anybody left outside at all because you have Kirito and Klein there.
Right.
I guess probably as soon as the doors closed, Kirito was probably like, well, our work here is done.
Yeah.
Asuna can take it from here. We're going to go now.
Yeah.
That's my only guess, because otherwise I can't see any reason why any of those people would still be alive.
Right. Well, he did give a time limit. He was like, I'm going to hold them off for 3 minutes, then I'm going to go get a sandwich.
I've got other things to do.
Yeah.
Although we still didn't really get an explanation as to why he and Klein were there in the first place.
I think they alluded to it when they had Yui wink at Asuna.
Yeah, that it was like Yui was the one kind of keeping an eye on things.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, they could use a hand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Good little girl.
Good kid. She knows what's up. She's got a good head on her shoulders, that kid. So before we go on, I want to talk to you guys really quickly about iTunes. Folks, thank you so much to everybody who goes to iTunes to rate and leave a comment. It really means the world to us when we see that we get positive feedback on the show that we're giving you. Our bosses at AfterBuzz put on over 80 hours of content a week here, and they provide that for you for free, which means they work 90 hours a week behind the scenes. And they work so hard. You know, everybody's here. It's a holiday weekend. Most people are taking it easy, and these guys are, you know, working away. So it really does mean the world to us when you go to iTunes and rate and leave a comment. We love reading the comments that are on YouTube as well. Mm-hmm. You guys are just the best. So thank you so much for your continued support, and we would really appreciate it if you would continue doing that in the future.
Yes, please. Please and thank you.
Yay! Thank you. So after the fight, they decide, you know what, the best thing to do? Let's have a party. Because we beat the boss, we showed those guys what's what, and we're awesome, so we're going to throw a party. And then this is kind of where the episode got a little bit weird, because not weird, but like they're clearly keeping a secret from Asuna. She's not in with their group. And you can really start to see it here because they want to throw a party and Asuna volunteers to use her house. You know, she has a house and it's a little cozy, but it's more than enough room for them. And at first they're all for it and then they're not.
Yeah.
Yuki is the one actually that seems excited about it, but then strangely enough thinks better of it and decides, maybe that's not it. And then in a scene with very little dialogue, we have
Siyune.
Siyune. Yes, I can never pronounce her name. Siyune, she just puts her hand on top of Yuki and I almost called her Yui. I was like, that's not Yui. But or is she? But she puts her hand on top of Yuki's head and she's like, yeah, sure, we'll go to the party. But it was a long pregnant pause.
Yeah.
Which obviously there's an unspoken understanding between all of them.
Yeah.
That something's going on. I didn't quite know what to make of it. Do you?
I don't and I have my theories, which I guess I'll save for predictions if we're doing that.
You know what? Let's go ahead and talk about them now.
Okay. I feel like.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV
Predictions. We're not quite done with the episode yet, but yeah, if you've got a theory, go ahead and share it.
I think that they are. I feel like they're dying. Like at least Siyune and Yuki are like slow, like they're dying, and this is like their last hurrah before the spring in which they're supposed to like not live anymore.
Okay, so you think the we're parting ways is a euphemism for we are like terminal patients and we're going to die.
Something like that.
Oh my gosh, that is so sad if that's the case.
I mean, it sounds true to form to what Sword Art does, where they'll like have something really upbeat, but they'll also kind of mask it with something that's a little darker.
I would be all for that theory if it wasn't for, I'll be honest, if it wasn't for the ending and if it wasn't for what Kirito said at the very beginning of this arc when he quote unquote found out Yuki's secret.
Yeah.
Just the fact that she is a permanent resident of the game is the way he put it. And I don't know if you've noticed, but at the end, during the end credits, Asuna's there, you know, and shows her Asuna with Yuki. And then it shows Asuna in real life, and she's got what kind of looks like a little webcam on her. I'm not sure. And granted, that could just be a little thing that she could transport Yui around in. It might just be a webcam.
Right.
But, you know, the way she looks at it, it definitely looks like some sort of Tamagotchi creature.
Yeah.
So I'm still acting under the impression that Yuki is an AI of some sort. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Either created by the game or is a part of the game that was able to split off from it like Yui was.
Okay. I was in that camp until she logged out. And then I was like, well, like AI can't log out, so she has to be a real person. And
she might not have logged out. She might have teleported somewhere else.
Maybe.
But no, I was kind of confused by that too. I was like, oh, maybe my theory has absolutely no weight to it whatsoever.
I mean, it's so, and the whole time that the party was going on, and every time it got like super awkwardly quiet, I was just like, just say it, just because I want to know what it is. And like, I have all these super crazy theories. Like, I gave you the normal one, but I have other super crazy ones because I just want it to be out there, and then I want it to be dealt with, which I assume next episode we will. But like until that point, I'm gonna assume that they're either from the future and they know that she's gonna die, and then so every time that they interact with her, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sad because I know what's gonna happen to you," or they're from an alternate universe in which Asuna never survived in SAO and they like knew her, and it's I have crazy theories because I want to know and I don't know what it is.
Alternate realities? Really?
It's not unheard
they
in
come
anime.
From the future?
Yes.
Yeah, but this isn't Steins Gate or Haruhi.
Yeah, but I guess that's how I treat most mysteries is until I know what it is.
It could literally be anything.
It could be anything.
Well, SAO hasn't really begun to deal with quantum physics, so I'm going to go ahead and rule out time travel, because I think that's just a little too outlandish.
You rule it out, but you'll rue the day you did when they reveal it, and I'm right.
Sure, we'll go with that. But yeah, I'm going to rule out anything quantum physics related. But I actually do really like your idea that maybe they're terminal patients of some sort, like they have cancer or some other disease, and they've only been given like X amount of time to make it. The only thing about that is, if they really are terminal cancer patients, and I don't know if the rules still apply from the original Sword Art Online, but in the original Sword Art Online, Alfheim Online, your real-life athletic ability did translate into the game, which is why Sugu was such a good player, was because she was a really good kendo person. So if they're sick, if they're in a hospital bed somewhere, I'm not sure how well that would necessarily work, although, again, the rules might not be the same anymore. It might just be, normal game mechanics. If you go in and you level up enough, then you can be powerful. Right. So it could be that.
Yeah. I mean, and who's to say that they didn't start playing before they were diagnosed, or because it takes maybe not your capacity, but it's well, this is what your body is capable of based on your muscle mass and all that stuff. And then you can just go from there. And maybe based on the strength of their mind, that's why they're all so strong, is that it's like, your mind says that you're this strong, so we're going to make your character that strong. Because if someone were to go into this game and they were like a paraplegic or a quadriplegic,
that's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah. They would still be able to play. Yeah. Theoretically, but they'd still be able to play. And actually, that's now what I'm afraid of, is that we're going to see Yuki log out and we're going to open up in a hospital room, and that's going to break my heart if that's the case. Series, don't you do that to me. Although I don't know anything about this particular arc in the light novels, but we have had one or two commenters not give spoilers per se, which thank goodness, do not give any spoilers, commenters. We do not want that at all. But we have had one or two people go, this arc in the light novels, get your tissues ready for the end of this arc. So I'm a little concerned about that. That is foreboding and not at all happy sounding.
Could you cry out of happiness?
That could be a number of things, though. Yeah. I cried at the end of the Gun Gale Online arc, but that was a very happy ending. That was very uplifting. But I cried like a baby.
As you should have. It was really touching.
Yeah. So let's get back to it. They are in the middle of this party, and things do get awkward when Asuna asks to join their guild. And that's exactly what happens, is everybody kind of gets really quiet. And Asuna feels bad for putting them all on the spot. But again, they're not saying why it wouldn't be a good idea for her to join them. And they kind of try to play it off like, oh, you'd only be in the guild for a short time because we're disbanding in the spring for vague, unspecific reasons that we're not going to discuss here right now with you ever at all. And she's like, it's okay. I am 100% okay with that. I know it's, a limited time, but I want to be your friend. And that, you can definitely tell it's breaking Yuki's heart in particular. Yeah. All the other people feel bad and they feel really sorry and clearly awkward at this point, but it's Yuki who feels terrible about it, and she just says, I'm sorry. It's not even like they're like, we want to be your friend too or anything like that. I'm sorry is the only thing that she can say. Yeah. So, yeah, it would make sense if she didn't think she was going to be around for that much longer. I don't know.
Yeah, doesn't want any more attachments.
I'm getting mad at you now.
I'm sorry. It's a theory.
This is your fault.
I wrote this theory.
If she dies, I'm going to be really mad at you. I'm going to be like, Tauri, what have you done? I just feel really, I'll give this series credit because the first arc, as much as we were enjoying it, it was pretty transparent. It was pretty easy to see who the good guys were and the bad guys were, and kind of what their scheme was up to. I have no idea what's going on with this. Yeah, and we have a couple theories, some more plausible than others.
Time travel.
No, gonna rule out quantum physics again. But yeah, they're really not giving us much to go on. Like, the first arc, it was so easy to put 2 and 2 together. Here, I feel like, there's still more variables to the equation that we just haven't been given yet.
Yeah, which is really exciting. Like, I love not knowing where a story is going because it allows me to have crazy theories. It allows me to, like, engage myself into it and try to figure it out.
I'm with you on that, but I like being right. And the first arc of this series let me be right for once. And so I really like that. Again, because I like mysteries, but I'm terrible at solving them. So when I'm right, I feel very validated.
Right. I get that.
And I have nothing here. I just have the theory that you said that she's a terminal cancer patient or something, or that she's an AI.
Right.
But even her being an AI wouldn't necessarily explain why their group is breaking up. So.
Well, maybe there's if we're looking for explanations, maybe there's an update that's going to get rid of their portion of the cardinal system if they're all not real. Then it's like, this update's coming in the spring, which will get rid of all ancillary systems.
Well, and actually, they prior to this really awkward moment, they were talking about, the different worlds that they had been in. Mm-hmm. They were talking about this one really terrible American-made MMO and everything like that. So I'm wondering, if maybe she's not an AI because she has the ability to jump from world to world. So,
right.
So maybe that theory is completely bunk.
Or she's the essence of the world seed.
Maybe. Maybe. I'd be all for that. But anyway, so Asuna obviously feels bad for really putting them on the spot. And so she's like, hey guys, let's go over to the monument. Let's go and take a picture with your names on it. I'm sure the update has been there. It'll be great and it'll be awesome and it'll make us forget about this terribly awkward moment that I have inadvertently caused. So they go, and sure enough, all of their names are up there. And if you notice, they had a little symbol by each of the guild members' names. Mm-hmm. It was that little heart from the opening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that little heart with wings, which that's a really cute sigil for a guild. It's just adorable. Very Kingdom Hearts. But,
definitely.
Yeah, and they take a picture with one of those little recording cubes, which I don't think I've seen one of those since episode 3 of the previous series.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, which I don't know why you wouldn't have those around more often. They remind me of Bit from Tron. Yes. No. I would get one of those and I would get it to fly around with me and say yes or no all the time. I don't know if that's customizable or not.
I'd have it say, hey, listen.
Only in a really high-pitched voice,
of course.
Right?
The most annoying voice ever.
All the time. And so they take a picture. And Yuki goes, thanks again, big sis. This was great. And that's when Asuna's like, that's the second time you've called me big sis. You called me big sis during the fight. And actually, she's called her big sis a lot.
Yeah.
Like, when they first met, it was, hey, big sis. The Japanese is One-chan, I believe.
Yeah, well, I think the first time she said it was like, ne-san, like just a general, big sis. But this one was like, when you add O, it's extra polite and extra familial, I believe, if I remember correctly. So this one is like, you're actually my sister.
And San and Chan have different, those are different honorifics. One is more familiar than the other.
Right.
So I don't know if she said...
Chan or San.
I don't remember. I wasn't listening. I was reading the subtitles.
Right.
But I'm guessing it was the more familiar one.
Yeah.
And so, Asuna's like, that's the second time you've said that. That's okay. I'm totally okay with it. I like it because obviously she wants to be their friend. Mm-hmm. And that's when we see Yuki just completely break down, weeping. And that's when she logs out or teleports to another location, not really sure. And that's how the episode ends. Which, what the heck, series? What do you mean I have to wait a week now that we're caught up?
Yeah, seriously.
I'm a little mad that we're caught up, actually. It's great because there's no more spoilers unless we get light novel spoilers.
Yeah.
But, at the same time, it's like, dang it, now I have to wait a week like everyone else. not okay with that.
But there's so much intrigue. It's great. Though I did yell at the screen.
A little bit, yeah. It's a little bit frustrating. But, I mean, that wraps it up for this week. But I know we already talked about theories, but do you have any other thoughts on this episode or where you think the series is going?
I'm assuming that based on the title of the next episode, this will be the end of their internal arc. So we're probably going to get more of Asuna and her mother, because that's a whole thing.
Yes, that is a thing that we still haven't addressed. That's going to be another awkward conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because with where we left it and with this mentality of clashing to communicate, it's going to be ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be like gut-wrenching. I don't know if I want to watch it.
Isn't that like terrible when you're watching something and you're like, this is so good, but it's too real?
Yeah.
Like, I feel uncomfortable watching it. Yeah, that's a little unsettling. But personally, I want to know more about Asuna's brother, because, you know, he's nowhere to be seen, like her dad right now. But and I feel like if her brother were there, it would provide a little, you know, I know nothing about their relationship, but it would provide a little bit of a buffer between her and her mother. Like, if they were all together, they could talk about it like a family, and it wouldn't just be kind of like the domineering mother, and maybe it wouldn't have to go out into like an all-out drag-out fight.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, potentially, though, I feel like the mom might be kind of that way because the brother is so off. Like, she can't control him in any way. She's just like, you and your dad are doing your own thing, but this one, I can make it my own. And yeah.
There. Actually, we did have one commenter, and I don't know if this is technically a spoiler or not, but apparently, according to this one commenter on YouTube, and I don't remember, I'm afraid, sorry for the inconvenience, but apparently Asuna originally got the nerve gear from her older brother. Like, it was actually his nerve gear, and he was either out of town or out of the house for a couple hours or something, and she just wanted to try it just to see what it was like.
Interesting.
And that's how she got stuck in Sword Art Online.
Sad.
Just like, I'll just play a little bit for anybody who had an older sibling who had a game console. You just want to play every now and then. Like, I did that with my older brother's Super Nintendo way back in the day.
Yeah.
Just like, he's gone, I'll play a round of whatever, like Mario Kart. And there goes 2 years of your life.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Think about that the next time you play with your older siblings' games.
Yeah, it could cost you 2 years of your life. You could very well get yourself trapped in a death game.
Yeah.
That would have been... Although, like, how bad would you feel if you were the older brother? Where you, like, bought this, you're like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. And then your little sister gets stuck in a coma for 2 years.
Yeah, I feel like it would be super, like, dividing. Like, you'd be like, oh, I feel bad for her, but that could have been me. But, like, it's bad. But seriously, it could have been me.
Yeah, like, part of you would be really glad that, you know, you were spared, but then the other half of you is probably like, oh, I should have hid it, or I should have waited to buy it until the bugs were out or something, until this blew over.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I guess that wraps it up for this week.
Yeah.
Yep. Tauri Miller, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at TauriJ. That's TaurijAY. Go for it.
And you can follow Liz at Lizzie Maui on Twitter. That's LIZZYMAWY. And then you can follow Katie at Kiaxet. That's KIAXET. And you can follow me on Twitter at The Menguin. That's TheMenguin. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of the Sword Art Online 2 After Show. We will see you guys next week. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.